Good evening! For most of my channel, I've been focusing a lot of my content onto a specific indie game called Rain World, and gotten a lot of consistent views with it. But now that I'm moving away into a more frightening content frontier with an uncertain future, I am forced to endure the greatest shame any YouTuber could ever have to deal with. I need to get a real job. Luckily, even though I've got a very big gap on my resume, I've got a job offer from one, GM Silk? Must be some sort of weird silk manufacturing company. It's off-site though, so I gotta move out to a new spot. It's called, Farloom. It's money, and I've got no other options for employment, so here we go. On the road, and they've got me in this funky little cage thing. Seems a bit extravagant for a new employee being bussed around like this, but, I mean, what do I know? While I'm here, they've given me a little thing to read out, though, so... I mean, if it gets me a bonus, I may as well. Okay. To all citizens of Farloom, pay heed to this announcement. Due to the eternal toil of a small team of dutiful architects, this production is sponsored by Critical Error Computing. Oh, this is just an ad roll. Alright, well, let me get this over with then. I've done tons of these. These fine workers have spent many nights binding sentient metal together to form a computational device. So they make computers. In addition, with rosaries, money, you can request one such technological marvel delivered straight to your bell home, modified to your specifications exactly. That's a pretty good deal. I'd take it, for no biased reason at all. Be wise, dutiful citizens. Toil to attain a fine device to lighten your burden, manufactured by our most trusted architects at Critical Error Computing. Simply look below at the description of this production to find a link, criticalerrorcomputing.com/-zombies, and rest assured knowing your rosaries are directed towards the furthering of our grand Citadel. Alright, that wasn't too bad, and it was thematic to the video, too. You should buy a computer. Alright. Ooh! Hey, I think we're here. Passed by a shitload of relatively unique biomes and such on your way here. And now we just gotta cross this bridge, and I should be delivered right to see my boss to get info on the assignment. Wait, is that a butterfly? Oh shit. Oh no, wait, I'm allergic. No, hold on. No. Achoo! Oh, fuck. I sneezed. Right, well, we appear to have suffered a bit of an accident. I'm assuming that we're probably not going to get penalized for that. It was clearly an issue on behalf of the people carrying it, and also an issue on behalf of the construction of that bridge. I hold no responsibility. What I do hold responsibility for is my conduct in the upcoming walk all the way up to find my boss again. So I should probably break out the employee handbook. Ooh, there's a lot here. I'll mostly mention these whenever they come up, but let me get to the most important bits, the basic rules. And since I'm recording this, I may as well put the entire employee handbook down in the description of this video. So, it was written by a close friend of the channel named Dragon Donk, who's been here since the beginning. So, yeah, if you feel like copying my journey through Farloom and all of these arbitrary rules that we set out, go down there and check it out. But speaking of which, let's get into the first one.
Rule 1. An employee is not permitted to harm any other employee or customer. All our customers are deeply valued, and any action that would push them to rival companies is strictly forbidden.
This one's basic. We're just not allowed to attack anything when we could choose to run away.
Rule 2. If an employee is cornered with no way out, they may use anything on their person to remove the threat.
But if we can't run, we can't attack back with any tools on our person. Okay, so gauntlets and boss fights shouldn't be an issue.
Rule 3. An employee must always take the safest path available to them. Avoid any paths that require a specialized tool not currently owned by the employee. Avoid any paths that contain hazards when other, safer paths exist.
So I'll be breaking the rules if I'm ever in a situation where I need a specified tool but don't have it on me. Rule 4 doesn't affect us right now, so we can move on to Rule 5.
Rule 5. Employees are required to use either the Reaper or the Architect crest. These crests have been designed for many workers of Farloom and have been thoroughly tested for their safety and efficiency.
Oh, this one sucks. I forgot my Reaper's crest on the way here. Fuck, I must have left it at home. Oh, I guess I'm eating a penalty already then. Oh yeah, penalties. It's written here that employees who have committed unsafe actions as outlined by the previous chapters are subject to monetary penalties to be paid directly to Grandmother Silk at the end of their shift. So how much is it for Rule 5? 100 rosaries. Fuck. Okay, well, I guess we're gonna have a tally for the entire journey. Let's just move on forward. I'll cover any other pertinent rules as we encounter them, such as immediately right now, actually. The moss on these walls appears to have entangled this portion of the wall. It's blocking my path. We've got a needle, but...
Rule 8. Walls must be broken with the appropriate tools to avoid collapse and injury. Vines may be cut with the needle at the employee's own risk.
Oh, okay, so we're actually fine here, but if we find any other required obstacles that would be otherwise unsafe, we gotta find a specific tool for it. Those tools being outlined as Pimpolo and Delver's Drill, an explosive and mining equipment. We're pretty far off from both of those, so let's just hope we don't have to break any walls or deal with any hazardous objects that would otherwise need to be exploded. This mossy area is pretty easy to get through. It's full of rowdy kids. I'm not sure who let them all loose in here, but as long as we're safe and make sure we don't hit any or let them bite us or something, we'll be fine. On our way through, we do end up meeting this fine fellow, though. We're gonna call him Timothy. He's gonna be pretty important to us later down the line, but for now we can't do anything to him. Normally I'd break him and get a bunch of nice shell shards for myself, but
Rule 9. All non-natural breakable objects are company property. They are of utmost importance to our mender bugs and must not be damaged or otherwise destroyed.
Timothy has unfortunately clearly been sculpted by hand, so we can't touch him without a penalty. Well, that was a piece of cake. Surely there's no issues with... Oh, fuck. Ma'am, please, I'm just an employee. I can't be held responsible for your children's accidents. Leave me alone. Wait, the door's locked. Alright, well that wasn't too hard. I just have the blood of a mother and her children drenching my stylish designer shawl. Oh fuck. I gotta take a nap for a sec. Oof. Oh, I needed that. I almost forgot that I fell 500 feet directly downwards through a cave. Well, now that we're in this lovely little settlement called Bone Bottom, we find ourselves facing a bit of a conundrum. I've lost all of my working equipment in the fall. I have no idea where it could be, so crucial equipment like my magma bell for crossing fire hazards, my spool extender for heavy cargo, and my weave light for dark rooms are all missing. Most importantly though, my company mandated compass is missing, the most crucial piece of equipment. I can't be seen without it, and I'll be penalized for any purchases made until I have it. Speaking of which, how am I even gonna make money? We can't kill enemies, we can't break objects that contain rosaries because they're company property. Oh yeah, and we can't open chests either.
Rule 10. Any and all chests are company property. Opening chests is strictly forbidden by employees.
But a smart employee always finds a way around obstacles, even if they're produced directly by their employer. After we've progressed through the marrow and dealt with an ambush by a bunch of angry customers, we find these rosaries just tied up. If we smack them, they fly off without any damage to the string itself. Outside of rosaries that are just kind of sitting on the ground, this is our only way of getting rosaries at the moment, and by God, we are gonna need them, considering the fact that the next room immediately has a penalty. This is supposed to be a pilgrimage path. Who puts a pilgrim path in a spot where you need to leap over roiling magma to progress? These penalties that are attained by me not having a proper tool when I need it are all worth 25 rosaries, and they're probably the most numerous penalty I'm going to get for my entire journey. Moving on past that penalty, though, I find myself encountering another type of rosary that I can get. This poor employee seems to have suffered a basic penalty that we too have to look out for. He's died.
Any employee who has died in service of Farloom will be seen in contempt of Farloom laws, and will be charged 100 rosaries post-mortem.
We'll have to keep this in mind going forwards, but for now, this employee isn't of direct concern to us. More importantly, he seems to have conveniently tripped over and hit his head on this conveniently placed frayed rosary string. It sucks for him, but they can't penalize me for picking shit up off the ground. Anyways, a few rooms up, we find ourselves encountering a local lesbian who seems to have taken up cartography as a hobby. Now, unfortunately, we are quite incapable of affording even the slightest purchase, so her maps are a bit out of our league. But she does have something essential to us, a genuine company compass. She must have picked it up somewhere, but for now, we don't have the funds to afford it. But if we want to ensure we can go through the rest of the run without extra penalties, we need that thing. So, after a quick rosary gathering trip through the adjacent rooms, picking up things and strings and also just shit off the ground, we head back and regain our first piece of important company equipment. Now that we know where we are, thanks to our trusty compass, we can progress up to the next area just past this giant dog trapped in these weird silky strands. Now, there's a pretty easy way around this, actually. We just gotta silk spear them. We're even actually allowed to do this.
Rule 7. Silk skills have been banned from use after the Shaman Prevention Act was passed. Employees are prohibited from using silk skills with the exception of silk spear to bypass thick threads blocking the paths.
So, we admittedly can't use silk skills under any circumstance, even when our back is up against the wall, but thankfully we can use it here to free this large dog from these strands. There you go, little guy. Wow, you're really excitable, huh? Oh, fuck. That's a little rough, buddy. Okay. I really don't want to have to kill some lady's dog, but I've got no choice. Alright, there we go. Okay, well, it's not dead. That's nice. Is it? Offering me a ride? That's nice of it, but unfortunately I can't take that ride. Rides on large beasts are, according to the company handbook, unsafe without a seatbelt. So until I find a seatbelt, I'm gonna have to say sorry, little buddy, but I'm good for now. Another interesting room here is this one. It's not only a dark room, which means going any deeper into it will constitute a violation, as I don't have my weave light yet, but it also has the straight pens. Now, as much as I'd love to get 2 penalties by going into a dark room without weave light and breaking the wall without Pimpolo, I don't want to get a 3rd penalty because I am not allowed to use tools that aren't listed in the handbook.
Rule 6. Employees are only permitted to equip and use tools outlined in Chapter 2 of this guide.
I'll get into the proper tools we need when we find them, or when we need them but don't have them, but for now just know that my employers don't want me carrying around throwing knives while on the job. Also, this is Editing DOS here, I should probably clarify. The penalties for dark rooms and lava specifically are weird. Lava only applies if you directly jump over the lava while having it in view, and dark rooms only apply if the entirety of the room is dark. So this room, for example, the one that I'm in right now, is actually a much bigger room where it starts light and then gets dark over time. This doesn't count as a dark room in the same way that Grindel's cell room would, for example. Just wanted to clear that up. Now that we've seen most of the proper rules that we have to deal with, let me explain how they actually affected the run. Now, for the most part, and rather obviously, being incapable of killing enemies or really doing much of anything without penalties greatly modifies the way that you play the game and actually approach problems. The best example I can give for this sort of thing would have to be a basic enemy encounter outside of a gauntlet or boss fight. They tend to be especially awkward and dangerous because we can't kill them, obviously, and we only have 5 hits before death, and we also can't heal reliably because we can't gather silk from enemies. This makes a lot of the challenges I faced primarily involve not just the obvious economy management of rosaries and shell shards, but lots of very difficult platforming around enemies, which you usually don't see outside of pacifist runs. So most of our plays while exploring areas and looking for things has to involve a lot of very tight evasion, because any bit of chip damage that we can do brings us 20% closer to having to pay 100 rosaries to my boss. Anyways, moving on from that, our next stop is in the deep docks. Now we have a bit of a problem immediately because this whole area is completely fucking filled with lava that we will get penalized if we have to jump across. So let's take another path, a way around the lava maybe. Now, unfortunately, that won't exactly work either, because as much as I'd love to navigate through Hunter's March, it has a particularly large and angry bouncer at the front gate that does not lock us inside, so we would get a lot of penalties for trying to kill him. The Marrow has a bunch of places where rosaries are attainable, but most of them are behind breakable walls, which require a tool that we don't have. Even if we could, they're in the form of these distinctly artificial-looking rosary statues. Now, luckily, we can get enough for what we need just by collecting the frayed rosary strings that are sitting on the ground around the area and searching around, and also convincing this large gentleman to break this rosary statue for us, which was definitely not my fault and therefore not a penalty. After doing a little rosary gathering trip, we can stop by Peb to get a craft medal, which will be important as after a few jumps over lava that give us penalties and some quality time spent in the workforce cafeteria, we find a lovely artisan who can craft us a brand new magma bell. Say goodbye to all of our lava-related problems, because now we just gotta make our way up and get dash so we can actually progress. But first, we find ourselves at yet another problem. If we want to loop up around into Hunter's March, we first have to get past this single bomb. Now this isn't too big of an issue, it's just very annoying, because this requires Pimpolo, something we can't get yet. Though even if we did get Pimpolo, I don't know if we could actually make this shot because it's on the ceiling. Now for another concern. There's another way up to the top of the kingdom that involves purchasing a simple key from Peb and doing a bunch of really annoying jumps up wormways, but that's also pretty damn implausible. Not only can we not pogo off of enemies to get into wormways in the first place, we also can't gather silk for the required binds because we can't hit enemies or die, and of course, the entirety of wormways is fucking dark and I still don't have my damn weave light. And the last thing on the cake, the simple key, is 500 goddamn rosaries, which I don't think we can even afford, even if we broke every single rosary statue and wall in the Marrow. So yeah, it can't do that. Unfortunately, that does mean that we gotta hit this bomb though, so, you know, what can you do? Now luckily, the rest of the walk up to Dash presents zero issues outside of a single encounter with some angry customers who have a very inconveniently placed lamp in the middle of their arena, which luckily they broke on their own, so I didn't have to fight around it. But after Dash, we find another thing of interest. Someone lost their weird ball of hair here. I feel the need to free it. Maybe it would let me skip all the way up to Greymore if I did, but that also presents an issue, because he's unfortunately got himself stuck in company property. Sorry, little buddy. There's nothing I can do. Anyways, as we move forwards with our brand new Nikes, we find another employee who's seemingly pushing some pretty toxic workplace culture, gatekeeping me from doing my job, talking about how I'm never going to be successful in this industry. Can't believe it, really. I thought Farloon was better. Well, luckily she did just toil with somebody who has been resisting violence for the last while, so we were able to silence her toxicity and make our way into Far Fields. After a little bit of rosary hunting and staring longingly at a chest that I can't open, we find our way to this lady's weird floating house. Now, unfortunately, we're a little stuck in here, and if we want to get out of this place, we don't have much of a choice but to follow her whims. Now, unfortunately, those whims do involve harassing customers. More accurately, we need to attack hokers, gather their spines, and make them into a cloak that lets us fly up this vertical shaft into Greymore. This is pretty problematic because we get a penalty every time we hit them. Now, we can min-max this. Each hoker spawns innately with a different formation of spikes, between 4 and 6 in different directions. So if we get a 6 spike with the spikes pointing downwards at a platform, we are able to guarantee a clean 3 spikes per hit. Now, we need 25 to actually complete the quest, meaning we have to get a minimum of 9 hits to pull this off. But if we're lucky and get a good enough formation that we can get an extra spine from even one of those hits, we can lower it down to 8 hits, which is a huge win for us. So I did that. Unfortunately, I did also accidentally break this background object twice, and I also hit this guy on accident while trying to go for spines. Sorry about that, boss. I'll take penalties on those. Now that we have our new drip, we can finally head back and actually ascend up the tunnel into Greymore. Oh, okay, never mind, it's giant robot time. Or actually, wait. I think there might be something stirring in my heart. A piece of knowledge that has become so core to my being that it thrums out like a radiant fireplace. If it sucks, hit the bricks. And brother, those bricks were asking for it. Turns out my gut feeling that totally wasn't just generic speedrun knowledge paid off, and with a simple maneuver, we can hop right across this pit of lava and leave this guy in the dust. I did this first try, by the way, and I'm still proud of it. I even used the soul from the hokers, so I didn't have to hit the big boy at all. That's some proper gaming. But there we go. Now that we're done with that, hopefully we don't have to deal with a penalty again for a good while. Oh, god fucking damn it. So as it happens, we have a bit of a problem on our hands. This entire corridor is filled with absolutely necessary explosives that we need to break without Pimpolo. Fun. On the bright side, we can tank a small penalty to pop open the Pilgrim's Rest door so we can get back in later and get the weighted belt so we can eventually travel on that weird dog we found, and also do the delivery quest here. But finally, we make our way up to Greymore. Now I realize I probably could have done Flea Route. It would have tanked me quite a few penalties, but I don't know if it would have been worse than the goddamn explosive room. But I also would have to do the entire game without Drifter's Cloak. And also, wasn't that skip kind of cool? So we're just gonna have to handle it. Now, Greymore doesn't really have a lot for us immediately. A few rosaries here and there, a few rooms that are almost too dark, and a bar. Now, a bar would be awesome if I had the money to spare on alcohol. I don't think my boss would like me getting drunk on the job, but I also can't find a section on that in the employee handbook, so if I ever need booze, I know where to get it. Greymore does have a nice point to it, though. It lets us finally swap out our goddamn Hunter's Crest for a proper crest, like the Reaper Crest, which we get after a quick and easy gauntlet in this random dark corridor that also does require us to cut a rope to get out of, so that's another penalty. Greymore also lets us get a bit of money after beating up some birds in their place of residence, but it's okay, they locked the door so I can murder them. We are able to ring a bell after this, and then we find ourselves at yet another huge problem. More wing. Now this guy does block the way towards Bellheart, but he doesn't actually lock us in when we go to fight him, so killing this guy would be straight up homicide. Even worse, it would be homicide of a beloved customer, which I don't think my boss would like all that much. But luckily, we can enlist someone else to kill this customer for us. Now this is Garmond. He's a great friend of mine. We go back a long while. He's my bro, and he knows when I'm in trouble, so he can handle this guy for me. Now, I'll be there to, lead the boss around. Go get him, buddy. All right, ow. Fuck, okay. Well, I don't want to pay 100 rosaries for dying, so Garmin can handle it. I'm just gonna sit over here. Go get him. Good work, man. Yeah, great stuff. Ooh, yeah, hit him right there. Nice work. Great job, bud. After a few minutes of waiting, my best buddy does it again. Great work, Garmond. We all believed in you. I don't know if you could hear my cheering through this incredibly thick wall in between me and the danger, but I was cheering for you the whole time. Okay, we're all done there. Next up, we have the lovely little town of Bellheart, which seems to be suffering from a pretty big issue. Their schedules seem to be a bit tied up. Ha! Ha! Oh, man, I'm hilarious. Anyways, let's go free them. Shellwood didn't have anything happen, though I did meet this weird lady. She tried to offer me something if I picked up what I can only assume is a dead drop of drugs around the forest. Now, I'm not desperate enough to deal with that, and I can't imagine she has anything of use for me, but it's good to know she's here. Moving on up from that area, and I get a very bad vibe from this specific room. I'm not sure why. But as we move on forwards, we get accosted by someone's grandma in a thorn bush, expedite her life insurance payout, and travel forwards into a room that caught me completely by surprise. This room is really easy usually, but we are not in the usually timeline. You usually just hit the Gallias when they attack you, and then they die, and you move onwards. But in a run where I can't hit the Gallias, suddenly I'm taking constant damage here. This got to the point where I actually ended up dying. Not to the boss, but to the shitty parkour segment after the boss in between the unlock. Awesome. 100 rosaries for my very first death. But after recovering our cocoon and using it to heal, we collect wall jump and can finally move onwards to get Pimpolo from Greymore. But unlike a lot of tools, Pimpolo is not sold by a merchant. We gotta make that shit on our own using a craft medal, which means we need to get a craft medal. Unfortunately, outside of the Songclave merchant and a chest in Deep Docks that is behind a simple key, which we definitely cannot afford, Every single other accessible craft metal right now is in the form of these big metal chunks, most of which are behind breakable walls. Either way, we're going to be getting a penalty for breaking these metal nodes without Pimpolo, so the easiest one we can get is actually in Blasted Steps, which has no breakable walls in front of it at all. After going through the whole damn area just to get some metal, we make our way back up to Greymore, slice some vines, and finally get access to our only way to reliably break walls at the moment. Luckily, I do have some shards from the fossils I broke open earlier. Either way, Pimpolo is super fucking expensive to throw. It takes 10 shards per bomb. The reason I took this detour now as opposed to later is because our next foe, Widow, is behind not only 2 dark rooms, but also a fuckload of breakable walls, 5 in specific, but we only have 4 Pimpolos to go around. Luckily, the first 2 don't need us to go into the dark room to access it, so we can actually save ourselves a penalty there. Fortunately, after the first 2, we only had to deal with 3, which is quite fortunate because I totally biffed this shot, my bad. But after some sick shots to land on those breakable walls, we finally make our way to the individual who is responsible for Bellheart's crocheted conundrum. Now, unfortunately for me, I did enter that fight with 1 HP. Fuck. Yeah, I died to Widow, fight me. It's especially insulting because that means 2 more penalties for the 2 dark rooms ahead of Widow that I had to tank on the way back. But after I finally put another old lady in the dirt, we get access to our Needle Inn, which means we can finally head to the restock center for Weave Light Lanterns, Weave Nest Atla. On the way, I also do the first courier quest, which requires me to murder these 2 shitflies. Fortunately, Pimpolo exists, and I am entirely willing to spend 10 shell shards to only get 15 rosaries for a single penalty. As we approach Weave Nest Atla, though, unfortunately, someone left the lights off when we enter, so I have to eat another penalty for a dark room. Now, luckily, going to the restock station doesn't take all too long, so this shouldn't take too long. Oh, god damn it, not again. The entitled single mother is back. Fuck. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase myself. The entitled lesbian mother is back, and her wife. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a big enough man to admit that Dual Moss Mother kind of kicked my ass a little bit. They tossed me around. Something about this fight actually kind of whoops my ass, but after a nice, 4 straight minutes of getting beaten like a piñata by an angry lesbian couple, I finally got my Weave Light, meaning no more dark room penalties. Things are looking up for the wages. Now, before going back up to Blasted Steps and eventually into the Citadel, we got a bit more money to farm. Starting out, we can finally go back to the areas with secret rosaries blocked by breakable walls to get that sweet, sweet moolah. Wait, but aren't most of the rosaries locked within breakable objects that we actually can't break? Well, yes indeed, but there's a secret little tech I haven't mentioned yet. These structures actually take 3 hits to break. But the first 2 drop around 10 rosaries each time, so if we only hit each structure twice, we get 20 rosaries per structure without breaking any of them. That's free money. Running around and attaining all of that, we also get another opportunity for some money through Lottie's minigame. Not only do we get another Pimpolo in our pocket, we also get a heavy rosary necklace, but only after we burn over 100 rosaries by fucking it up over and over again. Only the best gameplay here at the Das Zombies channel. As we travel up, we also finally get the weighted belt, pop open the Bellway and Bellheart, and wrap up the Silver Bells quest for another rosary necklace. We finally cash in that free needle upgrade that I totally should have gotten before Dual Moss Mother, and I'm out of shell shards. Now, shell shards are actually a really big issue because usually you're pretty topped up on them because you're constantly killing little shitbugs while you go through every area, but unfortunately we can't do that. What we can do, though, is something quite wonderful. Since we can't kill enemies, and since our rosaries are oh so precious, we can't buy shard bundles either. So what's a pacifist way of farming shell shards that doesn't cost any money? Some of you in the audience may have already guessed, but allow me to reintroduce you to my best friend, Timothy. He's a lovely little fellow who helps me in my time of need, primarily by allowing me to shack up next to him and smack walls for an extended period of time. As it happens, these shitty little shiny walls around the areas have a unique trait where if you hit them long enough, they'll drop some free shell shards on the ground. As far as I'm aware, these walls aren't off limits. So here's our way to get as many shell shards as we could possibly want. It does take a long-ass time, though. Luckily, I have a lot of time, and as long as we're stingy with our tool usage, coming back here every now and then for a restock should keep us afloat for the entire run. Anyways, after that little mining session, we can finally ascend up towards the Citadel, one step closer to finally meeting my boss. After using our newly acquired seatbelt, we can finally ride that exceptionally large dog from earlier up to Belhart and move back up in the blasted steps. This area doesn't really have anything for us though, no rosaries or anything of major note except for the boss, the last judge. Now normally the last judge has a pretty tough run back from the Bellway, but unfortunately for us it's even worse. There are 2 paid benches on the way up here, so for me, a stingy motherfucker who doesn't want to spend any money, the starting point for the run back is, here, in Belhart. Fun. Thank God I have Magma Bell constantly equipped to make this fight piss easy. So that's a bullet dodged. I don't know what I would have done if I lost 100 rosaries and then had to run up halfway through the map. Alright, after getting through that giant gate, we find ourselves staring up at a massive building. My GPS is telling me that my boss is at the top of it, so I guess let's get climbing. Oh, neat, an elevator. This must lead me right to the top of my... Oh, no, wait, it does go down. Okay, maybe there's another route up from down, right? Right? Oh, okay. I guess, you know, maybe I can get the technician that comes to fix this elevator to come and help me. What the fuck? Ow. Ow. Ouch. Okay. Well, it seems like my boss hasn't taken good care of her elevators. Hope I don't get charged for that either. Ugh, it seems I've accidentally fallen into the underworks. I've heard of this place. These lower-level employees are quite territorial, I've heard. A lot of workplace hazing type stuff happens here. We'll have to make our trip quick. Now, unfortunately, it seems as though even the benches here are behind a paywall. Nothing we aren't used to, though. 15 rosaries? No thank you. I'll just respawn from my convenient elevator hole 50 feet to the west. This place is dangerous, though. It seems the hazing that I heard about wasn't like drinking a lot of beer, but more of a, let's see how many spears we can shove up your ass in a 5-minute time span, so I'm trying my best to avoid that. Unfortunately, I am not a smart man, and I end up getting my cavities resized by an array of grimy shivs because I saw 30 bucks laying on the ground. Nice work, dipshit. Now you're down 70. I did land this smooth-ass hit to nab my cocoon between these two fellas, though, and besides that, I managed to avoid getting hazed. I do meet this rather large employee named Loam, who's doing his due diligence and putting in that overtime all the time. As much as I'd love to speak with him about long-term employment here, maybe see if the senior employee package has some added benefits, I am in fact incapable of keeping my mouth shut and breaking Rule 11.
Rule 11. Unions, or any speak of unionizing, will be met with swift and harsh punishment.
So, sorry, Loam. For now, we can help him out with his work and reward us with 1 rosary every 30 seconds, which isn't great, but it's technically infinite. I really hope I don't have to resort to this to pay off my steadily increasing debt. But luckily, right now, we can just walk away and find ourselves a brand new tool, the Delver's Drill. This is a super high damage tool that lets us break walls for less than half of the shard cost of Pimpolo. We can even have them both equipped at the same time. Massive win. Alright, now we can finally enter the Citadel. This place is home of some of the richest bugs in the kingdom, so surely it's got enough for me to pay off my debt just laying around. Like this, look, boom, fuck. Either way, this area is quite nice. It's nice and empty, actually. It seems to have a fast travel system that we, cannot use.
Rule 4. Due to unacceptably high injury and unsanctioned deaths, ventricle travel shall henceforth be denied to all. For Farlam Eternal, a bug who serves must never die.
Damn. Oh well. Walking forwards, it seems that that employee from earlier is back to throw more verbal harassment at me. They really gotta sort this evil bitch out. See, now she's even gone and alerted the entire Citadel to my location. Rude. I need to file a complaint to HR. Either way, this area becomes a lot more problematic now that there are enemies flying around everywhere, threatening to jump into my excessively large Reaper pogos. but luckily I managed to avoid committing assault through negligence and make my way up to the first shrine, bonging a donger, getting yelled at by an old man, and continuing forwards to the left so I can almost die in a corridor filled with angry musicians. But luckily, after that is the central elevator, the one that leads directly up to my boss, so yeah, that was pretty easy. Looks like we're almost done with the run. Oh, okay, I guess not. Buckle up, boys, let's kill some robo-gays. Luckily, I am well acquainted with the homosexual agenda, so they go down easy. Sorry, bro, not even love can stop me from getting that bread. Or more accurately, not getting fired is kind of what I'm looking for right now. Unfortunately, it seems that what can stop me from not getting fired is an arbitrary musical requirement. I need to recite the company jingle to prove that I'm an employee. Now, I'm not very good with music, so I might have forgotten the jingle on my way here. Listen, I didn't realize it would be that important, but worry not, there's a failsafe. Apparently, I've got 3 supervisors who can tell me the jingle. I've just got to find them first. The first one is, it says here his name is Vault Keeper Cardinius. Rad name. Apparently, he's up chilling in the Whispering Vaults, like a library, I guess. He probably holds all the employee records. Maybe I can get him to write up that lace girl from earlier. We just gotta head down through the mechanical gears of the great machine at the heart of the Citadel, you know, a basic commute through a work building, past an angry Spider-Man and his posse, and into the Whispering Vaults. This place is really cool. It even opens up a pathway back to the first shrine. Some folks seem to have moved in. It seems that bell I hit accidentally started a lovely little colony that also wants to siphon all of our money. Unfortunately for them, we will not give them a cent directly. We will save their courier because we need her. This is a bit of a pickle, though. The tool that we're looking for is the spool extender, as we can't do delivery quests without it. But not only is the spool extender pricey on its own, it's also guarded by these 2 dudes. And as much as I wish that they would just run off into this conveniently placed pool of water and die, it seems that there's some sort of invisible force field. So we're stuck having to kill them with our tools to minimize the amount of hits we spend. Luckily, Delver's Drill lets us do this without too much difficulty. Only a few violations, and we've saved the courier. Now we can buy our spool extender once we can actually afford it. Back down to the vaults we go, and after a bit of exploration, we immediately find our supervisor. How convenient. Cardinius here can't make things easy for us, though, but he can serve as a money-making scheme. The old coot has been collecting these little metal objects. I can only assume that they're for some perverted reason, but money is money, and I won't complain if an old pervert hands me several hundred rosaries for a metal butt plug that I found 6 feet to his right. Unfortunately, he is gatekeeping his part of the jingle behind a special one of these devices that his boss confiscated for him, so it looks like we're in for a bit of a trip. The vaults themselves are a dangerous place, full of angry customers looking to give me a thrashing for my coworkers' poor service. So as long as we're careful, we could... Whoops. Just a workplace accident, it's not my fault. Moving forwards from that, though, we end up encountering a huckster trying to put on a show. Alright, I guess we can give him the stage for a little bit, see what his show is. Whoa, oh, ow, ow, okay. It turns out he's using unsanctioned pyrotechnics and not giving his guest star a protective suit. And it seems like my magma bell doesn't count, I guess. Be wary, folks, this homo has hands, and he certainly used them to beat my ass raw, taking 2 deaths from me and adding 200 rosaries to my tally. Thanks, Trabio. My gift for beating him was this random mirror that lets me use his horribly unsafe pyrotechnics. I think my boss would kill me if I was seen with this, so let me just not use it ever. He was blocking access to the main elevator down to the Crucible, though, so we can finally head down, travel through some lava-filled rooms that we are safely protected against, and grab ourselves an ability upgrade. This lovely little harpoon is going to massively help our mobility throughout the run, but unfortunately right now it seems as though it's really funneling me towards jumping off of these friendly little worker drones. Now, this is my boss's property, and I don't think I'm particularly encouraged to damage it. So we can skip past one, but we are required to break the other to get to this little area which houses yet another gauntlet. Luckily, this one locks us inside. Doesn't mean it doesn't require us to tear this random cloth, which totally fucking counts as a penalty, by the way. So does this random piece of rubble in the corner that I didn't even realize was an object. Yay. But now that we're done down there, we can finally make our way back up to find Cardinius's boss. We even get a bit of shard grinding time on the way. When we do find him, it seems he's enjoyed himself a bit too much using this. I better confiscate it for its rightful owner. Handing that back to Cardinius, not only do we get a bit of a payday, we also get our first third of the jingle. Awesome. You know, he could have just told me all of it, but I guess nothing can ever be easy. Alright, now we can move on with our journey to find the second bit of the jingle, but before we do that, we gotta run some errands. First off, let's use our newfound cash to buy Spool Extender. On the way, we also run into Garmin again. Old buddy, it seems he wants to beat my ass, but it's consensual. He talked to me, he said I was allowed to kick his ass, actually, and unfortunately he doesn't seem too happy with me if I just let him beat my ass, so I guess we gotta win. Well, my boss can't get mad at me about this. He literally asked me to, so wham, got him. We beat his ass. While we're here, we also pick up a heavy rosary necklace from a nearby balcony, and then head down a hole into... Oh, God, I think I went down Cardinius's toilet. Man, all that butt plug action really did a number on his bowels. Oh, look at this. Take some fucking dewormer, man. Unfortunately, as much as I'd love to say there's nothing we can do about this particular worm problem, we can do something about it, but apparently my Wreath of Purity was lost somewhere up in an area that requires way more than I can reasonably achieve to even enter, so I'm gonna have to eat the penalties for getting out of here. I do hear something weird on the way, though. Is that a kid? Who the hell left their baby down here? Oh, that's a weird baby. I mean, I guess I'll take it with me for now. Oh, good. Oh, fun. Yay. I'm gonna name you Lil Squirt, because I imagine that's what the bowel movement that birthed you must have looked like. On our way back, we find a group of hoodlums attacking our favorite courier's brother. Unfortunately, as much as I'd love to leave him to die, we do need him to do delivery quests, which are required because otherwise our main rosary grinding technique outside of just exploring would have to be loam, and I don't want to do that. So a few tool uses cleans up these assailants and frees our little buddy. And now that we have him, we can actually finally start doing some delivery quests. But let me finish out the melody first. Or actually, let me hang out with my good friend Timothy some more. Oh yeah, that's what this is about. I fucking love hitting walls. Alright, our next supervisor is Conductor Ballador. What's with these Farlumian names? Anyway, he's located up in the high halls, which I'm hoping is what I'm thinking it is. On the way, I knocked out some quick errands around the Citadel, like picking up the ascendance grip, which is another tool we can use that will be very useful for what can be arguably called a tech in just a bit. It does cost us a bit of money, though, but I think it's worth it. By the way, I've got to say, the Citadel is easily the coolest area for this challenge. There are so many enemies in every room, and you have to do some really neat micro movement to get through them all. Multiple times I've had to specifically wait for an enemy to move towards me so I could harpoon under it without hitting it or bouncing up into it. There's a bunch of small examples of stuff like this. The Grand Reeds can't be jumped over nor pogoed, obviously, so we have to wait for them to do their flying attack to run underneath. It's very fun. Huh. Okay, now that we're here, this isn't... Oh, they meant high as in verticality, as in up. No, okay, that's not what I expected. It seems to be an entire array of this building just dedicated to one big sauna or fountain filled with dudes who... It's filled with guys who... Shit! The entire fucking area is filled with these flying enemies who love to use very precise attacks and try to stay away from you, meaning it's very hard to get them to the other side of you in situations like this, where I need to get under or above him, but he keeps running away from me right after using an attack. Either way, we managed to barely scrape through some of the hell rooms and high halls and make our way to this little side room. Now this room has another one of Cardinius's personal items in it, but it's blocked by this fat bastard, and I have 1 HP. So do I go back and rest, or... Fuck. Let's fucking go, let's go, I'm so good. Now, we also find the room where we can get Cogfly, which is another tool we can use. Unfortunately, I don't wanna. It's expensive, and if any of the flies survive after a boss fight is done, they will penalize us by attacking customers, so no thank you. I don't even have the craft medal for you. Alright, now we can finally get to old seedy Ballador, but it seems there's been a bit of a misunderstanding, as he's surrounded by his cabal of goons, who will perform an HR-compliant gang initiation on me if I try to talk to their boss. Now luckily, I've got a friend too. His name is Garmin. Garmin's a great buddy. He's not super helpful against the first few waves, but when he sends in the big guns, oh boy, we are absolutely set. Utilizing the ascendance grip from earlier, we can just hop right up onto this wall and let Garmin go to fucking town. Now this is the tech I mentioned earlier, and I say it like that because this is more of a cheese, but it's one we can do to prevent us from dying horribly to the Butt Brothers in the last wave. Oh yeah, and I also accidentally hit this single piece of cloth, so that's another penalty added. Awesome. Finally, we approach the big man himself on his deathbed. Cool. They really don't let folks like this guy retire early these days, do they? We get his third of the jingle through his gasping and sputtering, and finally move on to our last supervisor, which seems to be one Z Harkitects. Not sure what the Z stands for. It could be something cool like Zane. I don't know. He seems to be at the top of the cogwork hellscape I had to jump through earlier, so that's fun. Now, the upper half of Cogwork Core isn't actually too notable. It's super dangerous, and the enemies force me to take hits I otherwise would have loved not to have to take, leading me up towards my supervisor on 1 HP. Now, he's supposed to be here, but... Oh, fuck, he left a puzzle? Well, I mean, at least it's not his bodyguard. I know my pattern recognition. Hoo-ha, wham, pow, easy. Alright, come out. I need to talk to my boss, and you've got a... What? Oh, come on, man. Is this the physical equivalent of getting one of those automated emails? It's just a fucking machine. Alright, play me the thing. Yeah, you fucking clanker. I don't care that you're cool as shit. Come on. Alright, nice. Now we just have to head back and... Wait a minute, I'm still on 1 HP. Ha! I am not stupid. I know my shit. Behold, the ultimate Hollow Knight tech. Hitting the bricks in a meta sense. Quitting out. After phasing back into reality, I have full HP. Awesome. I jump down through the winding clockwork and make my way back on down to the main area. I just gotta say the company jingle. Ahem. This should have been the indie game of the year. Yeah, right, weird. It's such an odd choice for a company jingle. I mean, at least it's not gonna make anyone mad. Alright, an elevator up to what I assume is my boss's office. Now I can finally grind more rosaries because I'm still in major debt. Alright, let me lean in. I gotta break character for a little bit because I gotta tell you all how much of a dumbass I was. My big plan for a rosary payout was to get into the rosary vault in High Halls. There's a pale rosary necklace in there, plus a bunch of strung up rosaries. The only issue is that it requires a simple key to get to. Now, most simple keys we get are either paywalled behind a vendor charging way too much, or it requires me to kill this guy, which is not only assault, but also unsafe because he's passed like 3 more worm rooms in Sinner's Road. The only other free simple key is in Sands of Karak. I thought it was going to be cool to use this as a routing choice because it would bring me somewhere neat and cool that I would have no reason to go into otherwise, and it was. Conch flies were easy, but it was hard to get through Karak. There was a lot of really neat enemy dodging in the midst of platforming, like intentionally eating shit here to get this guy to move forward so I could run underneath him, and then I fucking died to the stalactite falling because I had to Delver's drill it. I opened up the Blasted Steps Bellway because I heard the payout was going to be somewhere in the ballpark of 560 rosaries, which would have covered all of that. I used a bunch of shell shards on the breakable walls, got the simple key, and finally made my way back to the rosary vault. I even had to break a wall without Pimpolo because it was, an upwards wall, which was another penalty, which I ate, only to figure out that the goddamn pale rosary necklace, the main payout, was inside a chest the whole time. Now, I still covered the expenses with the strung up rosaries, but god damn it, dude. Anyways, back in character. Outside of delivery quests, which I did grind the fuck out of, Most of my rosary grinding took place through relics. Actually, I already had enough of Cardenius' cylindrical items of intrigue. Now I just needed to run around the map and collect a bunch of trinkets and knickknacks for this lovely wormy lady who will pay me handsomely for my efforts in fueling her autistic hyperfixation. Now, finally, we can head back up, but only after... Ugh. Okay, I'll deal with it. I probably shouldn't take this horrible tentacle baby to see my boss. Let me go check and see if I can't drop it off somewhere. I mean, we're in the area. Hey, drug hippie lady, want this weird baby? Oh, sick, nice. Okay, she took it. Oh, and the wish? I mean, the last one wasn't. Okay, I mean, surely this won't. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, God, get off me, you crazy bitch. Oh, I feel awful. Oh, shit. I must be coming down with something. Ugh. No, man, this is the worst time to be all mucused up with these tentacles. Okay, alright. Well, I can't seem to put on any of my equipment, so I just hope my boss doesn't mind. There's no sick pay. I need this job. Right, let me just get on that weird dog and... Oh, wait, fuck.
Peanut butter jelly the long way. Peanut butter jelly the long way.
Ugh, finally. I even dropped off Cardenius' shit. I should have enough now. Let's go get this done. Oh, no, that's at least the little elevator's nice. Damn, you really spruced this place up, boss. Are those flowers? Oh, God fucking damn it, it's you again. Alright, I guess I gotta teach you a lesson not to fuck with sick people or other employees in general. I don't care if you're my boss's daughter, you gotta learn some manners. Wait, ow, fuck. She seems to be a little bit tougher than she was back in Deep Docks. It's fine, though, I can totally... Ow. Can you, like, give me, like, a few seconds without just mercilessly murdering me? Oh, come on. Jesus, girl, I know you got mommy issues, but it's not my goddamn problem. Your mom is literally upstairs. If you have a problem, you can take it up with her. I don't know why you're taking it out on me. Oh, ow! Okay, I guess I gotta lock in and show my true power. There we fucking go. Sit down. Don't you trauma dump to me. You were just harassing me, girl. Yeah, that's right. Go on, lie down in those very beautiful flowers and think about what a toxic person you are. Whew. Okay. Yeah, that was only like, what, like 5, 6 deaths maybe? Yeah, just, you know, not much. Only that many. Alright, now I just gotta get up to my boss and... Oh, great. More penalties because I can't equip my lantern. Hey, boss, I don't know if you can hear me from down here, but you really gotta work on your lighting. It's so fucking dark in here. Alright, I just gotta climb up here and... Oh, man, my bad. Am I interrupting your weird yarn ball time? Well, hey, I'm here like you asked. It took me a while. There were some complications. Are you sleeping in there? Hey, wake up.
I thought I said no visitors. Who is it now?
Hey, you're my boss, right? I'm here for the job. I'm here for the job.
Oh, it's you. The YouTuber we hired to bring us coffee for a week or so before we fire you for tax reasons.
That's a refreshingly direct explanation of what I was hired for.
Do you have the payment for your penalties on the way here?
Oh, yeah, here you go. A little over 2,500 rosaries.
That's not enough.
What? Why not?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I even counted it in the top left.
I just watched my daughter beat your ass for 90 minutes straight. You died like 25 times. I have CCTV footage of it.
Fuck, I didn't think you'd have a security camera. You have CCTV? Isn't this a pre-industrial revolution kingdom?
We've had CCTV watching you the entire time. That's how I know about the penalties in the first place.
Alright, fine. How much do I owe you?
This much.
Oof, that's a lot of money.
You can't afford it?
Can I, like, get on a payment plan for that?
You're fired.
Oh, fuck. All right, I'm fighting my boss. You know, I kind of thought it would end this way, what with all the other employees also trying to kill me. It tracks. This place is a super hostile work environment, by the way.
I literally kill and enslave people. Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. Totally unsafe. Actually, hey, now that you mention it, since I'm fired and all, do you guys have a severance package or something?
Yes, we do.
Is there any chance I can get some of that? It'd be nice to get something after all the trouble I went through to get you here, assuming you find it in your heart to let me live.
Sure. Here, let me show you.
Fuck, I died again. Well, I suppose the penalties don't really matter anymore. Also, yeah, I totally died to Cursed Lace too, like upwards of 25 times. It was hard, man. It's like a 2-minute fight where I'm only allowed to get hit 3 times. Either way, let's get back into it.
You know, I should have guessed you'd be back. Fine.
She's really kicking my ass, but she's not as hard as her daughter. That's what she said.
You know, I've got a packed schedule of sitting in my yarn ball and causing problems that you are actively pushing back. Can you just be a good little lower-class wage slave and die for someone who has more assets than you?
Wow, that's pretty intense for a Silksong video.
Bite me.
I don't know. I'm pretty sick right now. I don't think you'd want that. See, now look, that's what I said. Look what you did. Look what you did. I fucking hate my job. Ugh, that was a mess of a job, but hey, I'm back. What's up? I'm gonna keep doing YouTube now. Okay, breaking character. This is me after maybe 17 hours of editing. I hope you all enjoyed that video. It took me a month and a half to make. Sorry about the wait, but I promise the next one will be out sooner. I have lots of fun stuff planned, but if you really enjoyed this sort of weird challenge runny thing that a million people have also done, let me know. I have other ideas planned. Probably the next one would be a minimum bosses run, because that seems very fun. But yeah, let me know what type of content you want, and thank you all for watching this video. Click the buttons in the bottom that give me attention and validation, and buy a computer so that I can pay for groceries this month. Alright, thank you. Bye-bye.